Hey, welcome back to another Dollar Tree DIY video. It's wild to me that this time last year, I had about 60,000 less friends here on YouTube, so I thought it'd be worth it to go ahead and share my favorite 8 Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs, because you may or may not have saw them, but they stand the test of time. Dollar Tree kind of rotates their stock, so you can definitely still make these. For the first one, pick up 4 of the Dollar Tree MDF boards, snip off the little twine, remove the sticker. Since making this video, I definitely know it's easier to use like a razor blade scraper, but hey, this worked for me last year. Then just using some duct tape. You can do so many things with duct tape. I love duct tape. Tape all 4 of your signs together on the back. Reinforce it with a little bit of hot glue and then flip it over. Now, I know some people hate this. I didn't finish the back. I left it as is. Forgive me. If you want to finish that out, go ahead and do it. Then using Rust-Oleum's chalk paint. Some things don't change. I'm still using that this year in almost every single DIY. The white's my favorite because really you can mix it together and make any color you want. Anyways, I just painted the boards back and forth as if I was painting the same way the wood grain would be going. And for those little pesky holes, I just used a little bit of caulk, which can be picked up at Dollar Tree. Smoothed it over the holes and it filled it perfectly. Then just a colored pencil, stroke back and forth to kind of outline your boards or making your faux boards. And then you can just scribble with the same colored pencil to make the lines in the wood grain. And this is what you're left with. Not too hard, pretty easy. And then I went back, you could leave it here, but I went back with an old makeup brush and a very light brown and just kind of dry brushed back and forth to give even a little bit more dimension. But hey, this is totally optional. After that was finished, I don't know if anyone else got tricked into picking up one of these janky wreaths from Dollar Tree, the 12-inch ones. They're great if you twist them over to make like a little mini wreath like I'm doing. So this works great, but if you can't find them, you could definitely just use like the string of garland and wrap it around to make a little wreath. I printed off J and Y off my printer backwards, and then I used the only red paint I could find on hand and painted the back of the paper. I also mixed in a little bit of black. Once again, more dimension, more contrast, and swipe that across as well. I did the same thing with the J and the Y, and once that was completely dry, all you gotta do is go back and cut it out. Honestly, I prefer this way than stenciling sometimes because you get such a nice clean edge and your paint doesn't run together like with the white paint. I don't know if that makes sense. Flip that sign over, and then I use a candy cane, but you can use like the top of a broom or really whatever you have on hand, and some more duct tape because that stuff's great, just to give your sign some extra strength. So I haven't glued anything down here. I was just kind of laying it out, playing with it to see how I wanted my letters to go. Just using Mod Podge, paint it all over the sign, attach the J and attach the Y. And I don't know if you can see below the J, I actually faintly made some pencil marks so I knew where my O was going to go. And then I went back and hot glued the O/wreath on. Now I was originally gonna stop here, but I had some of these red berries left over from another DIY, who knows which DIY, from last year. And I just added them all over the wreath and cut up some of the leaves and added that too. And I thought that looked really cute. It really made the J and the Y pop. I loved the way this turned out. And of course you could do the same thing if you have some scrap wood or something. I ended up giving this sign away, but I'm thinking I have another idea for something kind of similar for this year. This was definitely one of my faves though. Number 2, we're gonna be making a huge pencil tree from Dollar Tree. All you need is 4 of the Dollar Tree Garland, 1 Dollar Tree broom. Now I use these brooms in the garage and the handle easily screws off, so I always save the bottom, if that makes sense. And then any plastic container, I save coffee containers, and about half a yard of burlap. I had this scrap burlap laying around. Poke a hole in the top of your container. I'm sorry, your plastic container, you do want it to have a lid. You can see I was using this for chalk outside. And then just cut the little hole out. With your first piece of garland, open it up and about a few inches up on the broom. Little dab of hot glue, and you're going to stick that on. And you want to make sure it's at the bottom of the broom, like the part of the broom that would be screwing in to the actual broom itself, because on the top you're going to use the handle to run your garland through, up and down until you run out of that string of garland. Are you still with me? Okay, then you're going to have a little bit left over. Take it and tie it together, and really your goal here is just to hide the broom, fluff it, move it, twist it back and forth. And then with your following 3 pieces of garland, you're going to twist it. You're like making the bones, the skeleton of your tree, the outline of your tree, whatever you want to call it, going kind of larger and then slowly going smaller. Remember, this is a pencil tree, so this is great in a corner where there's not much space, but you got the room for some vertical space, or you need something there vertically, you know what I'm saying? Stick it back in your can or plastic container. Hot glue, I put rocks in the bottom to make it heavy weighted so it wouldn't tip over. Let that dry, and then I actually put hot glue in the rocks and stuck it back in. So it actually worked out really well for me. This thing held together. I actually kept it outside for a little bit last year. Going strong. Then just go back with your remaining garland. You still got 3 left here, or like 2.5 at this point, and just start twisting it around your tree and fluffing it up, you know, bigger to smaller. You just got to work with it. Then finally, I just took the burlap and wrapped it to cover up my good old coffee can. That's it. This DIY is totally finished. Made a little bow at the top. You can add lights to it, whatever it may be. Like I said, I love this tree. It was about $5, $5 or $6, depending on what you have on hand. And it worked great outside for me. Held up wonderfully. Number 3, we're making a huge wreath for only $5. So pick up one of the hula hoops if you can still find them at Dollar Tree. And then 4 of the Dollar Tree garland again. I used a book, but you can use whatever. Wrap your garland all the way around the book. Squish it down. You're going to hold it in the middle, and you're going to cut each ends of the garland. So this was just the easiest way for me to get garland pieces that are about 5.5 to 7.5 inches long. Then you got all your pieces of garland. You did this to 3 out of the 4. And you're going to start hot gluing the garland to the hula hoop. No need to remove the crazy splatter, polka dots, whatever's on there. You're going to overlap about 2 inches inwards and 5 inches outwards, give or take. After 1 piece of garland, you'll be about halfway done. 2 pieces of garland, you'll be about all the way finished. And then the 3rd piece of garland will totally have your wreath finished. And remember, you'll still have a little bit of the leftover cut pieces left. Set that to the side. Now, push back the 2-inch hangover, whatever you want to call it, towards the outside of the garland. Your 1 piece of garland that is still full, you didn't cut it at all, flip it over to the back, and you're going to hot glue that around the edges to hide the crazy print that the hula hoop's going to have on it. And by the way, Dollar General does carry hula hoops too. They're not always $1, they might be a little bit more, and Walmart has them too. So this is what we're left with. See that extra piece? Go ahead and cut that up just like we did in the very beginning. And you're going to have a few V shapes. Lay them out to help give the to give the garland some fullness or girth, whatever. Hot glue that down. Now this part's optional. Chalk paint with a dusty old makeup brush and dab it on. That's how I got a flocked look. I put this wreath outside, and I actually made 2 of these. I'm hanging it up all year. It stayed together just fine. I also made one indoors, and the only difference is I added some pine cones on there. And I think the pine cones were from Dollar General, actually. So, super easy, inexpensive. A wreath this size, anywhere else would be way more than $5 or $6. Number 4, we're gonna make some Dollar Tree garland using the Dollar Tree rope. This rope does pull apart, and 3 strands together was too much, so I just pulled off 1 strand. 3 of the Dollar Tree bells in 3 different sizes, and then Dollar Tree also sells upholstery needles, or you could use a sewing needle. and then just take some twine, and it does take some time too, to sew or thread the bells through the garland. I did small, medium, small, large, small, medium, small, large, and repeated that. I put one across the garland on my mantle, and I did another one as tree garland on a smaller little tree we had in the dining room. Or you could just use it kind of like decorative beads, however you want. I thought it was super cute. Next, print off the number 25 backwards. We're doing this very similar to how we did the joy sign. Tuscan red and flag red mixed together. Paint it on the back. When that dries, then you go back and cut it out just the same. I didn't mix any black in with this one this time. I just actually went and bought some real red paint. Before, I'd only had my kids' craft paint, so that's why there's a difference in the red. This is one of those Dollar Tree little signs. I just painted it with white chalk paint, regular old black acrylic paint, and I got a little crazy while dry brushing, but hey, no big deal. So if this ever happens to you, just go back over it with your white chalk paint or whatever paint you had used as your base color. And that's what I did, and I swear it tones it down, fixes it. You don't even have to wait for the black to be totally dry. Some Mod Podge, and I added my little 25. And then I went back over and I painted it again. Now I like doing it this way because unlike colored ink, if you were to print off something, it doesn't bleed or smudge as long as you let your 25 or whatever you're painting dry all the way. And here we go. Here it is. I think this is super cute. I love this. I'm going to use this again this year, or I might make another version of 25. I just like the kind of super cute, basic 25 instead of a bunch of words or sayings and phrases sometimes. Number 6, 6 berry picks. Forgive me, 5 berry picks. This is number 6. You need 5 berry picks. Cut it down, and then the berry picks have little sprigs that are attached to the longer pieces, so you're going to separate the long pieces from the small pieces. And then take a wreath. Now you can use a Dollar Tree wreath. My Dollar Tree only recently started carrying the willow wreaths. So this one was, I believe, from Hobby Lobby, and I used a coupon, but it's a 10-inch wreath. Didn't use any hot glue on the longer pieces. I just stuck them all the way around. And then I did use some hot glue on the smaller pieces, starting in the middle, working my way out, just kind of filling in the really bare spots. So that's not making sense. I'm definitely sure you can see what I was talking about. And I really love this wreath. It's kind of like a different Christmas wreath. I like the berries. I saw something, I believe, at JCPenney's that inspired me to do this. In love with it. Number 7, you're going to take 2 of the MDF boards again. Attach it kind of like we did the last one with the joy sign, except I'm using popsicle sticks this time. Chalk paint again and paint the front, which was my back, but now it's my front. And then just take a ruler and a colored pencil and make the lines back and forth. Pretty similar, and doing the swiping back and forth, just like the first joy sign. Now, what I'm doing different here, what you can do different here, is I'm taking light brown and darker brown, mixing it together with some black and some white, and dry brushing across the boards to give it a multicolored aged wood look. If I had to do this over again, though, I like the way the boards turned out, but because of what we're going to be doing next, I wished I would have done it a little bit lighter or more white, just not as much dark. Take a pencil and something straight, mark off 2 lines, I just eyeballed it, and then write out whatever you want in cursive. I'm doing Noel, but you could do Joy, Mary, whatever you wanted to do. Take your rope and then hot glue it down to the board. So you can kind of see what I'm saying here, how the rope there's not enough contrast in my opinion. So if I could do this over, I would have done more white or lighter colors and not so much darker brown, more of the lighter brown mixed with white. You know what I'm saying here? But here it is. It's still super cute and I still love the idea. So it's still one of my favorites that I wanted to share. Number 8. I love me some wreaths, and it's another wreath. Like I said, my Dollar Tree just started carrying the brown willow wreaths. When I saw the lighter colored willow wreath, I snatched it up so fast, but I wanted it darker. So I just mixed colors together, painted the wreath all over to give it a darker look. 2 of the Dollar Tree Christmas floral picks, and they carry these every year. I gave mine a flocked look with some chalk paint, pulled the picks apart, and then I just glued the pieces of picks onto the wreath, balanced but not totally even from side to side. Like I would have them going diagonal from each other, and then I only used 3 of the pine cones. I also changed my mind because of where I was putting this. I wanted the purple berries, and I had these left over from who knows what DIY as well. Hot glued those on. This is just something you kind of got to play with, but here's what mine looks like. I just messed with it till I liked it, and I love it. And I also like this wreath because you can hang it up, you can hang it down, to the side. I decided on the side, and I like the way that looks, but I also think it'd be cute if you had a word in the middle and hung it with a ribbon. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you next time, my friend.